Let's go non-Jeromes. So this afternoon, Minnesota Vikings made a couple of roster moves that just make you go, huh. So they brought back offensive lineman Matt Cindric, as well as waived with the injury designation tackle Jeremy Flax and cornerback NaJee Thompson, special team superstar, last year UDFA. So with Cindric and Flax, Cindric was a UDFA out of Cal offensive lineman, had been with the Vikings earlier in the offseason, waived them, brought him back, and then Jeremy Flax, a supersized tackle. They had initially worked him at guard, but also he had been the third team left tackle. So I think they like his upside, but wasn't a threat to be on the 53 or practice squad. So this could be a way to keep him in the sphere. But NaJee Thompson's the one that raised the eyebrow the most. So last year, UDFA out of Georgia Southern. Now, what's interesting is that NaJee, he was a special teams specialist in college, right? Because most of the time when you bring up a special teams guy, it's a guy who played offense or defense and was a star at his college, blah, blah, blah. But no, I mean, NaJee was a legitimate special teamer at Georgia Southern. Vikings brought him in. He was one of the stories of camp. And frankly, if the Vikings didn't have Ivan Pace Jr., NaJee Thompson would have been the UDFA success story that everyone's talking about, because he played great last year. He was fantastic. He's dynamic. He's great on the old Twitter machine as well. Big time baseball and basketball fan. His tweets are great. But last year on the field, played 15 games, 193 special team snaps. Now he gets this reputation as being excellent as a punt gunner, and that's true, absolutely true. He's a Diamond Dan Chisena, except he can tackle. But more importantly, he was a 5-phase special teamer, so contributing all over the place. So every special teams phase except for field goal. He had 7 special teams tackles, which led the team, also recovered a fumble, and posted a 72.9 PFF special teams grade. So he was a stud. He was valuable, but been sidelined with a reportedly a knee injury throughout most of training camp. And reportedly he had been getting close to returning to practice. So this is a bit of a curious move, because here are the mechanics of being waived with an injury designation. So go through waivers like normal. All 31 other teams will have a crack to claim him. If he goes unclaimed, he reverts to the team's injured reserve list. Now, a team could put in a waiver claim, add him to the 90-man, and then make a decision with him on their 53. Or since it's early in the process, they could potentially put NaJee through waivers himself and try and get him onto their own practice squad. But we'll see. Players on injured reserve must miss a minimum 4 games. Teams can now return 8 players from IR. Also, new rule in 2024: 2 players before on injured reserve before 53-man rosters are set can return throughout the season. The rule used to be you had to be on the initial 53 so you could return throughout the season on IR. You can't just stash players on injured reserve and then bring them back all willy-nilly. New rule that was proposed by the Lions. Shocker. So theoretically, J.J. McCarthy could return this year, but let's not open up that can of worms. It's not going to happen. Please no. Please no. But that's why they've been talking about T.J. Hockenson potentially going on IR and then bringing him back. But that doesn't make sense because he's already in the pup. Anyways, but players. So this is what happens when players are on injured reserve. They can also get an injury settlement. So basically, they block out, hey, how many games are you going to miss? And then you get X number of dollars. Like, say you're going to miss 3 games. So then you get 3 divided by 17 of your base salary. You get that settlement. You're free to sign with another team, and you're good to go. Also, I don't believe that offsets, so the player just gets that cash. It's kind of good. But also, a player can be waived in this fashion with an injury settlement. They can be a free agent for a while and then potentially return to the original team, but they have to wait a period of the settlement duration. So in our example, 3 weeks plus 3 weeks. So who the hell knows what's going on with NaJee Thompson? Ideally, I mean, like I said, he was great. Maybe he just needs a little bit extra time. And even though he was a stud on special teams, maybe Coach Hatt and company, they feel good with the other guys on the rooster. And I don't know, they're gambling. This is a gambling situation because, like we said, NaJee reportedly was close to returning to practice. So another team sees NaJee as like, hey, we can improve our special teams precipitously just by putting in a claim and rostering him and going forward. So kind of sucks. Because you had a guy perform very well in the third phase last year, but we'll see what happens. Always something, man. Always something to this team. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings, in a bit of a surprising move. They waived with the injury designation Jeremy Flax and NaJee Thompson, signed Matt Cindric. Your thoughts are thoughts. Comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You guys know what to do. Skull production value.